Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm doing a reaction to The Blind Force of Consumerism, Acharya. I thought this was a little bit interesting because I am kind of in a situation. It's not necessarily bad per se. I'm trying to catch up on my bills. And I have a $1,000 bill in a sense, but it's mostly from my car, and it's two things that are required though. So it's not like frivolous purchase or anything like that. But it's the the tax on my car, the tag for my car, yes, the tag for my car, and then the insurance on my car just hit at the same time, and I'm like, ouch. I mean, individually they're not necessarily that expensive, except for the tag. The tag is expensive, but my insurance for what I get for it's not really that bad. It did go up though. But and then also in this ran into it's like and there's things that I want too. It's coming to like Black Friday in America, and I'm like, let's hear what Acharya has to say. Anyways, let's go and give it a shot.
Good evening, sir. So, my question is very general and it's not about like women and men. It's just on the basis of my observation. So, my question stand out for the introverts in the house. Like what I had observed in my friend circle at college and basically in the society, like the introvert is always pulled towards being the extrovert in nature, like what we had seen in the videos, books and the podcasts, like how to make friends, how to win people heart, and how to be an extrovert. So why the extrovertedness given like considered so much superior, and the introvertedness is not considered appreciable in the society? So is there any specific thing regarding like the extroverts would be only gonna be successful and more superior than the introverts? Whether if the person is very comfortable at his own comfort zone and being an introvert.
Really odd. So it's saying, if I understand correctly, saying that introvert wants to be an extrovert. It's not necessarily that they want to be an extrovert in some degrees. I think it's people wanting to be able to do things without feeling not ashamed, just shy. And it's not necessarily that they want to be an extrovert per se, but it's more along the lines is that if they want friends. Introvert, extrovert doesn't matter. You can be an extrovert and not have friends, and an introvert and have many friends. I think it's probably the wanting friends portion, because if you have friends, who cares about being introvert or extrovert? You can do introvert and extrovert, at least as far as I understand, is being able to talk to people, being expressive and everything. And when you have friends, you can be expressive. I think just in terms of introvert and extrovert, extrovert tends to express themselves even in public, and strangers and new people. Whereas an introvert is just very shy. They don't want to talk to people, kind of, but they do want to get to know people. But it's just they're very shy. I think that's the thing. Is being able to talk to strangers and having friends. If you have friends and you're satisfied with that, you probably don't care whether you're introvert or extrovert. That's my theory. I don't know how to deal with consumerism though. um, Unless I misunderstood her, but that's how I understood introvert and extrovert. And she's saying how introverts wants to be an extrovert. I don't think so. I'm a maybe I'm a hybrid. I used to be an introvert. I used to be shy for the most part. Then I started trying to understand that the worst case scenario is excuse me. The worst case scenario is they don't talk to me, and that's fine. um just be yourself, and if they don't like who you are, then that's great. And it's good to know that you don't have to be friends with them. If they like who you are, that's great, then you can be friends with them. It doesn't necessarily mean that you do or do not have to be friends, but you get to find out, you be yourself, and if you can be yourself in front of that person, that's great.
There is a very clear reason why the society favors extroversion rather than introversion.
Ah, well, society. Okay, I see. Okay, so basically, In terms of business and stuff, being an extrovert, meaning that you get to talk because you have to deal business. You have to be able to talk to people. Introverts are not going to do that. That's not to say that they're bad for business. They can be great because they can do their job, which is like, say, programming or dealing with numbers and stuff, where you don't have to deal with people. Extrovert, that's how you get business to come to you. Like, I was thinking along the lines of, like, if you have to sell products, you have a business, you're selling products to other businesses. You need people that can go out there and try to sell that product. So you obviously need an extrovert for that. But to develop products, extrovert, introvert doesn't really matter. Obviously you have to work as a team, but an introvert can become comfortable around the team that they're in.
A very, very specific reason. And this is a trend only over the last 2 centuries. It's not as if mankind has always been like this. I'll tell you. Introversion is dangerous for capitalist consumerism. Because if you are with yourself most of the times, and you start enjoying your own company most of the times, why will you spend a lot of money in the market? And if you are to be forced to spend a lot of money in the market, then it is necessary that introversion be shown down and shamed.
Excuse me, sorry. I find that kind of odd. I would assume the opposite, actually. Introverts would have no issues buying products. As a matter of fact, they kind of need it because they're trying to fulfill, generally speaking, they're trying to fill a hole in their social life. So they use gadgets and stuff to try to fill up the room to kind of perhaps maybe mimic social interactions. So they have toys and stuff like that. But also online, introverts have I remember watching this one video on VR chat, I believe it is. It's like a game, but it's not. It's where you have a digital version of yourself in this world that you chat with. And I hear a lot of people that are introverts saying that that's a great way to meet people because they're so shy, they're scared to go out the room, so they still buy stuff. So introverts, I would say, it's not necessarily going against capitalism. I think introverts and extroverts don't necessarily correlate to capitalism. I mean, there could be, I don't know, but I think it's what you want to buy, your consumerism is something separate from introvert and extrovert. I mean, there could be a link. I don't know. I don't think so, though.
Who is an extrovert? Generally, extroverts are the one who have very little tendency to look at themselves. When you look at yourself, you realize what is it that you really want. Then you cannot be a blind consumer of the society's markets. When you are an extrovert, what is it that happens? I am with 5 people, I am hanging out with them, talking to them, and because I am not looking at myself, my gaze is always directed towards the outside. Therefore, I will feel a certain incompleteness without ever knowing what is the incompleteness that I feel. And since I'm always looking outwards, so I'll go to all the things that appear on the outside and try to use them to fill the incompleteness within. This is extroversion. That incompleteness, that void that we all feel is a real void. And it demands real treatment. But its treatment is an inward glance. You continue looking at this void that we all feel within, and that is the only cure you can provide it. However, when you have a great tendency to never look at yourself but keep looking at others, then what is it that this void makes you do? This void says, I exist and my solution lies in the world's markets. You become a good consumer.
I don't disagree with him at all. This can apply to both introvert and extrovert. again, I guess is there a different definition for introvert and extrovert? For me, introvert and extrovert means, again, extrovert meaning that they can express themselves without any issues, without any shyness. And introvert is shy, timid. They're to say fearful of the public, but they feel uncomfortable being around large groups of people. It's not their, I don't want to say style, but not their, what they're used to. Even in a small group of people, if they don't know them too well, or friends of friends, they kind of feel uncomfortable. Whereas an extrovert can be popped into a complete stranger's party and would be able to talk to anyone. That's what introvert and extrovert is how I understood it, but this one seems to be a bit different. Is there a different meaning?
You become the stuff that markets love. All the producers in the world want people who have money and who are blind. In Hindi we call it आँख के अंधे गांठ के पूरे. A lot of money with no discretion. That's the kind of person that the markets love. Are you getting it? 5 of you walk into a showroom, and if the salesman is smart, he will quickly point out which of you is the most stupid one. And it is that person that the salesman will attack. Because this person can be made a fool of, and this person can be used to sell your goods.
I guess a better one would be Bella sell to all of them. But no, I get what it's saying. Yeah, good salesmen know how to pitch their stuff, and a better salesman can sell it to all of them. I don't know, but yes, obviously, yes, that makes sense. But again, how does that go to consumerism, though?
And if an introvert walks into a showroom with 4 of his friends, and what is the introvert doing? He is silent, he is inward. The salesman will show no interest in this introvert person. I'm exaggerating, but do get the idea, right? The salesman will show very little interest in the introvert because this introvert is very difficult to fool, or rather comparatively difficult to fool.
Wow, I would say the opposite, kinda. Again, maybe introverts and extroverts in different countries act a bit different. I'd assume they'd be roughly the same. I mean, unless I got the definition of introvert and extrovert wrong. The only reason why I say it's probably a little bit more easily fooled the introverts because they don't hang around people. So they don't know what it's like to interact with people. They don't know how to read people in terms of who is out there to fool them and who is. An extrovert can be fooled for sure, but he's interacted with enough people to hopefully be smart and learn certain cues like, wait a minute, I've seen this before. That's kind of sneaky. I don't trust that person because the person that done that in my past has used me, and I have to be careful. Whereas an introvert, generally shy with people, who's never really interacted with people, very limited interactions, would not know the dynamics of human interactions as much as an extrovert would. But again, of course, it all depends on the individual. Someone could be an extrovert and keep falling for the same things over and over again. The person, an introvert, could be very, very observant and never fall for anything. But generally speaking, though, the more experience you have with interacting with humans, the more you can pick up on social cues, because you start noticing things, hopefully. I'm not saying everyone will do it, but generally speaking, you do pick up on certain things, especially the more experience you have with it. But an introvert who doesn't really interact with people would be very limited on that and be either extremely hesitant or extremely gullible. Both are very much possible. The extremely hesitant one would be someone who's been, of course, fooled before, been used before, and then all of a sudden they just completely shut down and don't let anyone in, even if it's something that's good for them, just because, you know, the stranger one time messed with them, now they don't want to deal with that anymore. Or a person who, you know, has never dealt with anyone before will eventually get fooled.
That's why the entire media is full of characters that glorify extroversion. Look at all the so called heroes in your movies. Where do you find introverts? The more noisy the person is, the more fit he is to be a hero. The more stupid a person is, the more successful he will be as a heroic character. All the loafers, they are super hits as heroes.
I will say, we have definitely different media over here. Say the stupid people are heroes, or those are very noisy. No, and at least for me, and I think a lot of people, annoying characters are not liked. Stupid characters aren't necessarily heroes unless they're considered like the underdog, which generally speaking is like there's things stacked against them. You feel sorry for that person. You know, sometimes he can't help the way he is, and you want him to be successful, to finally come out ahead. Throughout this entire movie, has been bombarded, has been put down, has been shamed, and we kind of can relate to that, where we have experienced that before. It's like, oh man, I feel you. I went through that too, but you can't let that bring you down. I want you to win. I want you to be uplifted, and when they win, you're like, yes. You know, you wanna see, I guess, what they call that underdog story. Slumdog Millionaire, I believe, is one of them. I think I've not seen it. I want to see it. I heard it was really good. But yes, I think that's an underdog story. I believe if I heard correctly, it was basically a poor person who maybe won the lottery or something and then became rich because slumdog millionaires from like the slums and then became a millionaire. Is that well, I guess it could be an underdog story. It could be, because it depends on how he acts. But anyways.
Right? I'm talking of both the actor and the character. That's what they want you to buy into. They are not showing you just a movie, they are showing you a way of life. They are selling you a philosophy, and it's a very toxic philosophy.
Oh.
Be very mindful.
Holy smokes. I mean, I'm curious as to the movies he's talking about and the characters he's talking about. Generally speaking, at least in the stories over here, there's usually a very uplifting and positive story where you have the good beating the bad. You know, being a good citizen, being a good human being, protecting the weak, etc. Now, of course, there could be some bad aspects to it, but generally speaking, it's generally good. Where's this movies he's talking about? It's kind of weird.
It is not just rupees 300 that they want from you. They don't want you to buy just the movie ticket. They are not satisfied with rupees 300. They want your entire life. This is one. It is a complete nexus. The movie is not separate from the superstore or the shopping mall. What is it that your movies glorify? Don't you pay attention? Reckless consumption, especially since the last 20 years. And it's no coincidence that the Indian economy got liberalized in 1991, and the very flavor of your movies changed. The very flavor of all media, including television, changed. The hero is more often an NRI now, with a lot of money.
What's NRI? More often an NRI now, with a lot of money. Okay, I will say this. It's quite clear that it is quite different from my experience with introvert, extrovert, as well as the movies. I'm trying to think the movies back in my birth country. I didn't really watch very many movies. Although we did have quite the influence from American culture. Well, American movies, per se. The only one of the few movies I remember when I was young was when Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was coming out to the theater, and I wanted to watch it, but never did, because I forgot. I think Ghostbusters as well. But yeah, it's kind of strange. I'm trying to think of movies that's created in my birth country. I think I've seen maybe one. I'm not sure. Maybe my country was still too poor at the time to be able to develop its own kind of cinematic movie, like its own Hollywood. I really Now they have TV shows, that's for sure, but not movies. I don't believe, or maybe I just never really paid attention because we didn't really have a TV when I was growing up. We did, but I was too busy playing outside. Anyways, yeah. So clearly there seems to be quite a bit of a difference, at least from what I'm noticing from here. It's like, really, is it really like that in terms of the movies and the TV shows?
When was the last time you had a poor man playing the hero? When was the last time you had an ordinary looking woman playing the heroine? They are selling a life philosophy to you, and it's a very dangerous philosophy. It will destroy you.
Interesting. Yeah, let me know if what he's saying is true in terms of, like, I guess give me an example of a movie that you think that he's talking about. For me, you gotta look at, okay, you look at, like, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's quite popular. I'm pretty sure it's popular around the world, so it's like a pretty good example. You look at Thor. He's a very arrogant character. He shows his arrogance very well, but he's punished for it by his father, Odin. So arrogance, not really looked at. Hopefully you've already seen the movie, but he self-sacrificed to earn his worthiness. So it's not exactly arrogant, or it's not exactly showing to be bad. The character himself was very arrogant, but it shows that arrogance is bad. You look at Captain America. There's this teenager, young man, very skinny, very patriotic, wanting to serve in the military to save people's lives. He keeps getting denied. He tried, like, I don't know, 8 times or something like that. He keeps trying and trying and trying, and he wants to serve. Shows that, he's determined, strong will, wanting to do what's right. He's poor too. Actually, they explain, I think, in one of the movies that they used to wear newspaper for shoes. So again, not a rich person. Then he became injected with some fluids and got steroid up. Iron Man, billionaire, rich, arrogant, cocky. He got humbled to realize that his weapons were being sold to the enemy. He realized what his life work is. Jensen taught him, kind of opened up his eyes and make him realize, like, what will your life story be? Destruction, death. And then he realized then that he wanted to change what his name meant. But he's still pretty arrogant, but he has made change for the better. What else is out there? Anyways, those are the 3 main ones. Yeah, that I remember. Anyways, it's not to say that all American movies are like that. Obviously, there's a wide variety of them. There's definitely some ignorant ones, and they don't do so well. And it seems to be recent movies too, as well. Like pretty bad. It's really, really bad. Bad writing, bad characters. Yeah. Anyways, yeah, let me know. I definitely, it seems like there is quite a drastic difference in definition for introverts and extroverts, or perhaps it's not drastic. Well, maybe it is. Maybe they're the same, but perhaps maybe in India, introverts more look inwards, whereas in the United States, it's just meaning that you're shy, you're not talkative. And also, maybe in the media, it plays on those. I don't know. I'm curious now. That's interesting. I never thought about media playing into introverts and extroverts. Now, of course, I can understand consumerism wanting to do that because they're trying to sell a product. That's all they really are. It's not. I wouldn't say it's necessarily what he's saying. I mean, there could be some companies like that, not once your whole life. But they all they do, and this is where I say take personal responsibility. They're there to make a product. I mean, it's up to you what you want to buy. A lot of it's pretty good. Food that's easy, that just in case you need it real quick, you can pop it into whatever it is and then eat it. The clothes are good quality. Well, this one's like, $5. Good quality though. I like it. so so yeah, they're making these things. It's not like I don't know. It seems so cynical, but it's not like they're not trying to steal your money or anything. They're trying to earn your money. So don't necessarily look too much into like things like that. Now there are some things out there who are trying to genuinely take your money as much as possible. So do be careful. Absolutely be careful with that. Anyways, I think I said too much. It's 8-minute video and it sort of looks like it's already 25 minutes into it, or 26. Anyways, this is my reaction to Blind Force of Consumerism. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, thumbs down, down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.